So, as Christian said at the beginning, Sam, I am like just a huge fan of yours. To be
Thanks.
complete, yeah, I think you're amazing. I've been watching you for years, and because I've been watching you for years, one of the things I know is your infamous morning show appearances that people seem to be baffled by you time after time. Do you prefer that, like when you're going on a show and they don't know you, your sense of humor, they don't know what you're about to bring to them? And then those clips go obviously incredibly viral, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. Is that your
Yeah.
preference? Do you love being interviewed by people who are like, who is this guy and how did this happen?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had one of those. Usually the ones that let me on are letting me on in spite of that, and they're kind of like, this will be funny. But I love, I mean, the first one that really kind of popped was I was just annoyed. I was just like, I was on like 2 hours of sleep in Pittsburgh in like a shitty part of town, and they forced me to do morning TV. It was before I was like selling tickets and was like eager to do it. I'm like, fuck it, don't move tickets if I do something horrible. But it was at a time where they were like, you have to do it. It's part of the deal. And I was like in a bad mood. Something was wrong with the air in the hotel, so I was like all nasally and stuff. And I sound like such a whiny Jew. But I go to the.
I'm part of your tribe, so I get it. We can complain about whatever we want.
But you look like Hitler would have liked you. Is a difference.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I diet, so maybe he would have kept me around.
But we get to the studio, and I remember it's Pittsburgh Today Live, and I remember they asked me. This is the one that started. They were like, just kept asking questions with like they just didn't give a shit, and I was like, I'm on 2 hours of sleep. It's not going to move one ticket, and I because like no one watching this show sincerely is gonna like me, but then they just were like, say, have you always been funny? And the way they said it, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna fucking. In my head, I'm like, it's live. I'm gonna ruin it. So I said something along the lines of like, no, but when I was young, my uncle molested me. And he was funny, and that gave me Spider-Man-like superpowers. So now I'm funny, and I just said it very, like, seriously.
Yeah.
And they just paused, and it was like you could hear a pin drop, and then the woman goes, "Well, I don't know what to do with that there," and I was like. And then I just broke and started cracking up. And I'm like, this is so fucking uncomfortable. And I got off set and I was like, hey, can I get a copy of that footage? And they were like, get out. So I've always described these as like bank robberies. I need like an Uber getaway driver I have to like call it as I'm going on set because they do not like me. So I have to be ready to get the hell out of there. But that one, thankfully, someone recorded. Went to like Twitter. I was like, I don't know if anyone recorded Pittsburgh Today Live today, and someone had it. So it's bad footage, but I have that one. And that was the one that I saw, oh, people like when I do this. So I'm just going to keep doing it. And sometimes it doesn't work, but when it works, it's pretty, especially in person. Like on Zoom, we've done shit that's been weird as hell. And Pam, my publicist, got so mad at me one morning. We were doing, we were on the tour bus on some show in North Carolina. And as a joke, I was like, "Oh, it'll be funny if like we pretend I'm really healthy because this is another live show." And then I pan around and my opener Gary's just blowing a line. So I'm on live TV, and this woman's like, "Oh, look, you're being like really healthy." I'm like, "Yeah, look, I have a salad here." And then I pan around and Gary's just like freaking out, like blowing lines. And she's like, "Well, thanks for coming in." And they cut it off like immediately. And Pam, my publicist, calls me and goes, well, I just got screamed at by the head of this
does
show.
Does she hate you or does she love you?
Yeah, she kind of hates me. But she said something along the lines of, the guy said something along the lines of, well, Missy, you'll never be on Good Morning Durham ever again. And so now I'm like blowing. But I had another recent one that the guy at Good Morning Columbus snapped on me. And then she tried to book another client like a month later. And they don't remember who's emailing about who. So they were like, we'll look at your client, but we had some asshole come on a month ago and pretend there was a human trafficking problem in Columbus.
The sex trafficking.
I was like, that was me, but they didn't know that Pam repped them. So she goes, that's disgusting. I'll look into that. But she's like, you're ruining it for my other clients. I can't get them on morning TV, but I can't help it. I can't help.
It becomes an addiction.
Sometimes they're really cool and it's funny because they roll with it, but when they're not cool, it's also pretty funny.
Yeah, it's true. It's like
we've had both.
It's like fucking.
And then I started
bringing
Gary Veter, my opener, on as like the gimp. So I would have him like hog-tied, and I would pan over to him, and he'd be like, and they'd be like, you know. But my friend Rachel Feinstein was just in Buffalo, and I did the GIMP in Buffalo. And the guy, and she was just going on. She's like one of my best friends, and she goes on, and the guy goes, "Do you know this comedian Sam Morril?" And she goes, "Oh, he's like my best friend." And the guy goes, he brought a GIMP on. He was like so pissed, and I was like, "Oh yeah, you can't tell people you like me if you go on morning TV. I'm not like well liked."
I love this battle of this battle against the morning TV. It's hilarious. It's also, but the question though too, there's some of these shows, I'm sure, like, is it like a catch-22 because you go and you get that's what social media can do today, where back in the day you couldn't, if you did something like that, your publicist gets mad at you, you don't get booked on a show, you don't have anything to really show for it, right?
Yeah.
Where now you can say, I don't give a shit, last thing I did 2, 3, 4 million views on it, and nobody even knew what the hell this show was, and now they do. You kind of have that in your back pocket, right?
I don't think they're happy with that, but yeah, I mean, it works for me.
Yeah,
it definitely works for me. I mean, but then you get on bigger ones, and she's like, "I got you on Morning Joe. You can't fuck up on this one." And I'm just like, it's really hard for me not to fuck up though now. Like now, it's
you said I can't
hard.
help it. That is a crazy thing to say. You can't help it, but say sex trafficking over and over again. Like you can help it. You're not helping it.
You're not in my skin. You don't know what it's like. It's gotten difficult for me to. Yeah, it's gotten hard. I'm gonna do my best though. Morning Joe. We'll see.
Oh, okay. That hasn't happened. When does that happen?
Friday.
See, now I want to tune into it. Now I want to now I want to find out if Pam's like, shut, don't encourage him.